There we are. Hello, everyone. We are live from Sosúa, Cabarete, North Coast, Dominican Republic. Drop in the comment box where you guys are logging in from. There we are. What do we got here, Thomas?
Got me,
Okay.
Mark,
What's going on?
Robert.
There we are. All right. Noel, welcome. Where are you from, Noel? Michael. Welcome, Michael. Yes, there we are, New York. Welcome, New York. New York in the house. Yes, Noel. Mark, what's going on, my man? How are you?
Yeah, good. Good here.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you also. Jeff, Monte Plata. Oh, Keith, Boca Raton. We have a cousin from down there. Nice. Juan, welcome, Juan, from New York. Toronto. Yes, Tim. I'm from Toronto originally. There we are. Got a bunch of people here. Awesome. All right, guys, let's get started. This is an absolute privilege. I'm a member of the Inner Circle, and Jamie and our company, RealtorDR, we've been collaborating for the last few years. And he asked myself, and this is Thomas Soler, he is the CEO of RealtorDR. I am the president. And Jamie asked us if we can deliver some insights into the Inner Circle members about our local market here on the North Coast. And I've had some great chats in the chat group with you guys. We've had a few clients who've actually purchased from us. We've had lots of people come and visit and accommodations, help with car rentals, legal questions. And our goal at the end of today's presentation is if you guys have some curiosity, some interest, maybe some questions, it'll be the excellent platform for us to kind of explore them together and answer them. So before we get started, I just want to share a little bit about myself and my background and why I chose the North Coast, because I think that's important before we deliver some of the insights. And for full disclosure, I love the Dominican Republic. So this isn't like which is better, like Punta Cana or the North Coast or Las Terrenas, because I love Punta Cana. But the reality is that a lot of people, when they think the Dominican Republic, think that there's Punta Cana. And Punta Cana is fantastic. I love the easeability or the flights that are coming in. There's so much more selection. They're reasonable price. I like the infrastructure there. It's easy to get around. I like fine dining. There's great fine dining selections in Punta Cana. And I'm a golfer and I love to golf. And probably I'd say once a year, me and my wife and my two kids, we go down and we usually spend a couple days in an all-inclusive resort. But the reason why our family chose the North Coast, okay, over different parts of the Dominican Republic is a lot of reasons why other people are choosing them also. And it was not really targeted for like the return on investment or just the dollars or the numbers. It was more about our family and how we wanted to live our life. And kind of if I scoot over there, you can see our motto. It's your life, time to live it. And that was kind of something that me and my wife, we sat down. I was feeling burnt out in 2015. I just sold my business and I was looking for a way to recharge the battery. I wanted to learn to surf and I wanted to make sure that for my family, the kids had excellent school options, that we were safe, that they could pursue athletics so they weren't just connected with technology and a phone and a tablet in front of them all the time. And in 2015, we did a dry run here in the North Coast in the Cabarete area. And we absolutely fell in love with the community, the people, the culture. And my wife is Dominican. She was born in Santo Domingo. So being in placing our children in their heritage and for them to learn Spanish and be proud about being Dominican from the Dominican Republic was extremely important to us. It never came here for business, but we saw an opening in the market in we saw an opening in the market in 2020, and we started RealtorDR, and it's been 6 years now. We've had 700 transactions underneath our belt, and from day one, we've been collecting a lot of data. We've been listening to a lot of the questions that our clients have, that families have, that investors have. And today, the goal of the presentation is to deliver you guys some insights onto what our market looks like here, because that's important, that when you're looking at a specific market, when you don't have an MLS and you don't have a standard association of realtors, so you don't know where to look and you don't know who to trust, is that you're getting your information from a reliable source. And there's no one better to deliver insights with data in real life information than our CEO, Thomas Seller. And Thomas, if maybe you can jump into it a little bit about what we've prepared today for the Inner Circle members.
100%. So one thing, let me just share the screen here. Let me know if you can see it.
Everyone can see the screen, just thumbs up. Excellent.
Perfect. So as Robert said, the Dominican Republic is beautiful overall. I don't have children. I only have a small dog. And now my fiance here, with whom I have moved here almost 4 years ago now, which is really exciting. And I moved here for the business opportunity because the Dominican Republic is beautiful. And it's also beautiful in the way that it still is a starting point for a lot of opportunities. So when we look at almost anything in the world that is happening right now, or what is working, and whether it's service, software, apps, even real estate, we are right now, and whether it's in Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Santiago, or Miches, Bayahibe, all these places, it's still at pretty ground zero level opportunity. And one of the insights or some of the things that I will be sharing is that very often I have people inquiring and they feel like they're super adventurous. The only people ever that have considered buying in the Dominican Republic, which of course, all of you being in the inner circle, you are way ahead of the research and you know a little bit more, but it is something that blows my mind. And the traction that we're getting right now as a country is absolutely amazing on so many different levels, from technology to sports to just the beauty of the nature. It's amazing. So Robert, you briefly touched on the North Coast, the reason why you moved in here, which is also going to be one of the topics of the Dominican of the presentation today. But you might be asking yourselves, I don't know, I've seen in the chat that some of you already live here, maybe some of you already own property here, but why DR? Why now? So we just wanted to go over some of the highlights that they're happening right now for 2025, 2026, and the near future. I'm sure that you have noticed that whether it's Google or NVIDIA, that have made significant investments.
Absolutely.
And we've recently shared some reels that we're not talking a few people or a few employees moving here. No, it's hundreds of millions of dollars in technology and infrastructure that's being invested here. And if large companies are making these moves, it's really important. I just saw that Lamborghini is opening a dealership in Santo Domingo. So those are the things that, when people are still considering the Dominican Republic a third world country, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's important to mention too, from the intention and curiosity standpoint, all we have to do is just follow Jamie, and you see when he has a breaking news reel, or if you're following us on our platform, it's not like 10 likes. It's not like 100 likes. You know, some of these posts are getting hundreds of thousands of likes and comments all put together, which shows that the world is listening because it's a global audience. And these aren't paid advertisings that are going out. These are organic, real life views and real life comments.
Yeah, 100%. And with what is happening globally right now, and of course, US is involved in a lot of it, but still, we are a very strategic location. And I'm really grateful that I'm not in Europe where I come from. I come from the Czech Republic. Since 2022, we've been having some challenges with Ukraine and Russia and other nations around it. When we have the US, when we have the Middle East, there's a lot of things happening. And one of the things that we see is number one, the Dominican Republic definitely is one of the strong partners of the US. There is a lot of attention, and especially for Canadian citizens, it still is the most cost-effective and nearest beautiful place to go for a tropical vacation.
Absolutely. And even right now, we'd like to think that the relationship with Canada and the US should be better than what it currently is. But I have some people back in Toronto that totally had to reinvent their business because most of them were Americans. And with the tariffs and with some of the challenges that they face, it was a lot of turmoil that they had to endure over the last 6 to 8 months until they figured it out.
100%. One of the very important things that have happened is that the Dominican Republic has become a target as it's been moved to the investment grade, and it's going to move there in the next few years. So right now, people are noticing, and whether it's tourists or investments, and whether it's investments in properties or investments in the infrastructure, because, for example, recycling, that's a huge thing or a huge challenge or opportunity that is here, and people are coming to take, I don't want to say take advantage of it, but fill the market gaps.
That's right.
The important thing is that we are noticing, and a lot of it comes from the cruise ships. I know there is a new $1.5 billion cruise port being opened in La Romana, which is absolutely amazing. But to have 12 million people visiting this year and almost 12 million visiting last year is really amazing. And Punta Cana still takes the cake with the
hands down,
flights,
hands down.
right?
It's
Over
incredible.
half. Is it the biggest or the second biggest privately owned airport in the world, which is quite incredible.
Mind blowing for a smaller island to have that claim to fame. And just talking, I had some clients like say, well, not everyone from the cruise ports goes off and spends their money locally in the economy. And I said, you're 100% right, but there's a percentage of people that do. And I can speak from firsthand experience with the people that I know that have businesses in Puerto Plata, that they're experiencing an uptick. There's more money coming in. I golf regularly at Playa Dorada, and the golf course over the last 18 months has made incredible improvements. And one of the reasons why is because they have a reliable source of new clients coming in almost daily from the cruise ports to go and golf. And there's a lot of other businesses from taxi drivers to smaller restaurants that are all feeling this little pebble in the water ripple effect that's beneficial because having that incoming money is making a difference into the local economy.
100%. And even 1% of those people that come here every year on a cruise ship, if 1% comes back and visit, that brings in so much money. So
Exactly.
that's definitely a huge effect. And speaking of the North Coast, in 2026, we have 42 new direct flights to Puerto Plata, which is really interesting. And we have briefly touched on the North Coast. When we say North Coast, yes, it stretches from the west to the east all the way to Samana. But when we talk about North Coast or when expats or people living here, very often it's going to be specifically Sosúa and Cabarete, because those are such unique towns, both very different.
Yep.
Both have very different socio-demographics, different visitors, different people choosing to live in either of them. Here is a view of Cabarete. If you haven't been here in a long time, I'm sure that if you visit now, you will see a lot of change.
And I just want to point something else. This is one of the reasons why I fell in love with this specific part of the island is because as you look at this beautiful picture of Cabarete Bay, the one thing that may look different compared to Punta Cana is that this is a prime real estate for beaches and water sports activity, but none of the developments that you can see in this picture, besides maybe one that's tucked away somewhere in this picture, they're not all inclusives. These are opportunities for real estate people to invest in the Dominican Republic, prime real estate.
100%. And when I was saying that if you have been to Cabarete, maybe even 5 years ago, you would have not seen a lot of these projects. The infrastructure has greatly improved. Speaking of investment and money coming in, when people talk to the developer of this property, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing at right now, but it's on the bottom right corner. When he presented this project 4 years ago, everybody kind of smirked and laughed and it's like, yeah, good luck. Nobody's gonna buy a condo on the beach for $1 million. Well, he sold out, and the penthouses sold for $3.8 million. While others are struggling because he was focused on the boutique experience and something luxurious. And we always talk about beach bums and billionaires on the beaches here because
Yes.
big money is coming here. And whether it's the companies like we mentioned, Nvidia, Google, and others, but also people who want to have fun.
And there's a ripple effect. Maybe it's not right directly on the ocean, but it could be the second line, or it could be on the other side of the street that has ocean views and scenic valleys and mountainous, right? So there's not just limiting belief that it only has to be one little smaller part. The opportunity stretches vast across the entire country.
100%. And we briefly touched on the differences between Punta Cana. So I just want to run through there quickly because you probably have done some research, but the big difference is that Punta Cana, it's a lot of all-inclusive resorts. There's a lot of Airbnbs, but typically people can get a great deal on an all-inclusive with a flight for almost cheaper than the flight itself.
Yep.
The golf courses there, it's undeniable, and there is 26 PGA rated golf courses
Incredible
right now.
golf. Incredible.
But at the same time, to me, coming from Europe, it feels like going to Miami. It's something artificial. If you need an artificial beach, well, that's odd, right?
On an island.
But yeah, it's been a mass tourism machine that had a huge tourism government push for the past few decades, and they've done fantastic. They have developed something that a lot of other countries or neighboring countries could be very proud of if they had something similar.
Oh, it's a world-class destination.
And where's the North Coast? It's a place. It's not a product. It has been developed on its own by the past 45 years when the first all-inclusive resort was in Puerto Plata. That's how it all started. But going a little bit to the east, where Sosúa, a little fisherman village, Cabarete, surfing, windsurfing, it's a real community, real life.
And just a real life scenario, we have some clients right now that are purchasing it from us, and they're from Hawaii. And I know that change will happen, and I know that, hopefully change is done with grace, but they say this reminds them a lot of Hawaii, maybe 20, 30 years ago. And that's a sentiment that a lot of people that are coming from other parts of the world are seeing the potential in where this market maybe is right now, but where it's going to be in the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years.
And a lot of our colleagues are a great example that people come here for a vacation and they never leave.
Yes.
We have Michelle who came here, 26, 27 years ago, very close with Audrey. When she came here, well, they became windsurfing instructors. And it's like, boy, would I go back, and just never came back. And it happens now. Somebody is thinking of buying a rental property, maybe not even planning to visit. We've had a client who just wanted to park his money. Now he comes here 3 times a month, and that's just because he needs to deal with something in the States.
Yeah.
But he's here more than in the States, and he planned to absolutely not spend any time here.
Yeah. And I seen in the group over here that we have people from New York and Toronto, and New York and Toronto is expensive, and the cost of living is super high. And obviously this winter's been a long and treacherous winter, extremely cold and lots of snow, and more people are discovering a direct flight down here, and being able to skip those winters, and maybe instead of renting something, maybe being able to rent it out to somebody else and generate revenue for themselves. And for myself personally, I had several student rentals in my local market back home. And as time passed on, I just couldn't get the returns that I was looking for anymore also.
When I mentioned a huge government push for Punta Cana, on the other end, we can now see President Abinader, whose background and history is on the North Coast in Puerto Plata, because he was the president of the business chamber here in Puerto Plata before he became more involved in politics and become the president. But now we see the Punta Cana group and the president investing in places like Punta Bergantin. We see A-Rod investing $1 billion in Rio San Juan, which is just 40 minutes east from us.
Absolutely beautiful.
They just broke ground to open the first private airport right there. So those are the things that absolutely put the North Coast on the radar, including the Carretera Ambar, which they already started breaking ground for as well, which will connect Puerto Plata and Sosúa through from Santiago with a very nice and easy way. It should cut it from about an hour and a half to 30 minutes is what they say. That will bring a lot of local tourism into this area.
That's a big thing that a lot of people forget on the North Coast. And I think Punta Cana has a direct connection with people from Santo Domingo because of the proximity. People can go from Santo Domingo and be in Punta Cana in a relatively short period of time. But being Santiago and it's an inland part of the country where they don't have the coastline and they don't have the beaches and they don't have that particular feel or vibe, we have a lot of local tourism from people that come from Santiago that spend their time here or invest here as well.
Yeah. So surfing, mountains, rivers, waterfall, all within 20 minutes. That's what we see here and experience and live on the North Coast in Sosúa and Dominican Republic.
Here, I'll give you world-class surf. I mentioned in the beginning that I wanted my kids to explore the athletics instead of being connected with technology just on top of a laptop or iPad or iPhone. My daughter was actually able to represent the Dominican Republic in the ISA World Surfing Championships this year in Peru for the country. I was surfing this morning with my two kids and caught some awesome waves. I was showing Thomas before this little meeting over here some of the pictures and how they are so much better than me now. It's incredible. So world-class surf for anybody who likes the water. It's a very peaceful environment. You're disconnected from technology. It's one of my greatest gifts that the universe has given me is the ability to spend times with my kids in environments like that.
Yeah. The amazing thing that we have here is La Sierra Septentrional,
Oh, wow.
which
That's a tough word.
gives us an important thing, and those are the trade winds coming down from the mountains. Because together with that, it creates a very special and in the Caribbean, a unique place where first thing that people ask, or one of the first things, what about hurricanes?
Yeah,
Because they might be coming from Canada, that where they bought a place in Florida, or they have different experiences from different islands. Even Punta Cana, even Samaná, Las Galeras, those are Puerto Rico. Those are places that unfortunately get pretty hit by hurricanes and different storms. But here, it gives us not only places to adventure out to, like the rivers and canyons and waterfalls, but also protection from hurricanes. Because for the time that I've lived here, for the almost 4 years, I've experienced two, let's say, major hurricanes.
Okay.
But here, when we see what's around us, to me, it's just a little extra wind and some rain for 2, 3 days.
And some good waves.
And some good waves. So that's a very positive thing about the North Coast. And a lot of people are not aware that we are blessed by the geography of where we are here, while also being 17 minutes to an international airport here in Puerto Plata, because that's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Location, location, location.
We have briefly touched on Sosúa and Cabarete. Sosúa, a lot of nightlife on one side, but that's what people might have experienced a while back. But they forget that Sosúa is not one street. Sosúa is an area with over 20,000 people, different gated communities, and several international schools.
Full of culture, so much beautiful history, wonderful people. My children go to the International School of Sosúa, very proud, amazing school. Our office is located in the La Serena Plaza, so most foreigners, when they're visiting here, or even locals, they shop at this grocery store. So many mom and pops restaurants that are just so outstanding, so caring, great food selection. So it's a lot more than just one strip.
100%. Whereas Cabarete and starting an Encuentro, where it's a world-class surf beach all year round, to Cabarete itself in the bay that's, I don't know, top 3 destinations in the world for windsurfing, wing foiling, kite surfing, all these variations and new things happening and coming up to the market. It's unbelievable. And to me, and you could see it in the picture before, when you're on the beach, it's nice to look at the ocean.
It's a postcard with
But
kites.
seeing hundreds of colorful kites and foils and wings, it's just something else. One thing that we have, and I've skipped over it, but communities like Sosúa Village or Casa Linda or Hispaniola, or Seahorse Ranch, which people consider the safest gated community in the Dominican Republic, because maybe you've been to Casa de Campo, but the thing is, once you get in, you can just go around. There's a lot of amenities. If you want to stop by somewhere, you just stop by. In Seahorse Ranch, no. You say you go to the restaurant, they will not let you go anywhere else than the restaurant. So owning a property there is beautiful.
Yeah,
I'd better say.
and you have properties starting at in the gated communities that Thomas mentioned, small studio condos from 100,000 all the way up to in Seahorse Ranch into the multi-millions.
100%. And then we're also just 2 hours off from Las Terrenas, 3 hours to Samaná, depends how fast you drive, which are, again, very different.
And I love Las Terrenas, by the way. Absolutely love it.
Overall, all the things that we have discovered, it feels like a village for me when I come here from a city, but it has everything, and more is coming because we have supermarkets. We actually have a new supermarket growing up minutes away. So from our office, we will have 3 huge supermarkets within 3 minutes drive.
And in Puerto Plata, you have a Bravo that's being built outside or in proximity to play a Bergantine. And when big companies like this invest, they do feasibility studies and they understand where the market is going to be and the demand in order to fill it.
Yes. Same thing with PriceSmart, new hospital. We have a hospital a minute drive from here.
Yeah.
So in terms of infrastructure, we have so much more than I could even say we should have, given how many people we get here. And especially when it comes down to international schools, like where your children go to International School of Sosúa, or Isla Academy, where a lot of our colleagues have their children, or the European school. It's absolutely something for everyone. And whether you're considering to take advantage of the rental opportunity and whether short-term or long-term in Sosúa, Encuentro, some of the communities, or come here and live here full time, you can be so comfortable.
Yeah, and we have a new fire department hall that was just recently built. We have a new public hospital that's being built right outside the airport. We also have little things like new paddle courts being introduced, and that's like a new phase that a lot of people are enjoying and having fun. And one of my favorites is also some new golf simulator type of bar setup, which hopefully is going to be opening soon. So that way, if I can't golf during the day, I can still get some swings in. And also in Cabarete, there's a 9-hole executive golf course being built that will have stadium lights so that you can golf in night as well, which is another reason and another sign. Not like everyone can see, but not everyone has vision. So when you look at the North Coast, I think it's more about understanding where it is and where it can be.
100%. And whether, like I said, whether you own a property here or you're considering it, you're not alone. And so I wanted to share a few insights of some of the inquiries that we have received this year, because we had 289 unique inquiries for properties.
Year to date, right?
Year to date. This month, or sorry, February, we had 244,000 views. And when you look at the, let's say, discrepancy between almost 250,000 views and 300 inquiries, there is a very important metrics that people don't realize, that being a real estate agent or a broker here in the Dominican Republic is so much more difficult than being in a big city where somebody knows it. Because here, the average time from somebody inquiring to actually closing on their condo is 10 months.
That's a long time.
And that takes into account people who have bought the same month that they inquired.
Yeah.
It's quite incredible. And it's a journey for a lot of people because it's a big decision.
And it's also a testimonial to the inner circle, is because a lot of the people that are in the inner circle, they're in the educational stage. They want to learn. They have questions. Because, when I moved down here, my family told me I was crazy and why would I leave a high-paying job and why would I go and relocate my family? Probably a lot of people that are in the inner circle are meeting the same resistance that most people meet when they're starting to explore a different country or a new area to maybe improve their life or invest in.
Yeah, and I wanted to also share, when we look at the inquiries, and it pretty much aligns with the views as well. On first place, 57% of our web traffic is from the United States, followed by 22% from Canada, which when we consider how much bigger the United States are compared to Canada, we have a lot of Canadian people looking for a place here in the Dominican
I think
Republic.
overall Canada is colder. I
That's good,
think
yes.
overall right now the Canadian economy is probably doing a little bit worse off than other markets.
It's tough.
And there's still a lot of direct flights, and we have a good composition of some Canadian background here with RealtorDR. So I think all of those factors play in to the percentages.
Yeah. Then the third biggest group would be people that are already in the Dominican Republic, but more importantly, they're living in the States. They are repatriating,
Yeah.
coming back to the motherland, because it's something where you've gone out, you've made it, now it's time to put it back where you came from.
My wife always says that the goal for her family was to leave for a better opportunity or to make a better living. But now the families had like those, couple deaths. Their goal is to come back for a better quality of life.
So I also wanted to show you, because one thing that we are really good at, I would say, or passionate about, and something that we're missing here in the Dominican Republic is data and information. And so I just wanted to give a small sneak peek, because we're already sharing a lot of information. I see that the time is running, but 68% of all the inquiries are for villas. One thing that maybe that's for another webinar is what people are inquiring about and what they're actually buying. I'll share some insight after I go through these, but mostly people inquire about the $250,000 to $500,000 mark, followed by 100 to 250. We have a few people looking for the 500 to $1 million, and still so many people inquire about the $100,000. The thing is, I'm sure that people would inquire more about $100,000, but there aren't that many opportunities anymore to get into an investment.
Yeah, with minimum wage, materials, the inflation, it's harder and harder for developers to produce a good product and be profitable at those under 100K price point targets.
Mostly it would be 2 bedroom that people are looking for, followed closely by 3 bedrooms. 4 bedrooms, not so much, but still. And for the most part, it would be that people look in a combination of a villa and 3 bedrooms, but those people typically end up buying a 2 bedroom condo. And that's just something that we have observed and based on the data. And the thing is that very often when people start research is, well, it's going to be super cheap, or I can get financing like in the States, I only need 10% down. And then you slowly find out that it works a little bit different here. And maybe you don't need the third room for somebody who will never visit you. Maybe you don't even need the second room, but you want to have the extra space. So that's how it starts shifting. Because when I shared that it's 10 months on average from interest to a decision, it's a lot of things that we follow and learn together when we guide people to make a really good investment here in the Dominican Republic.
Being able to document over the last 6 years the buyer's journey has delivered so many insights, and it's not as much as like making assumptions as understanding and collaborating the data to curate it so that it makes sense.
Yeah. And of course, when we're talking about hottest area right now, if we take it globally, it would be Punta Cana, 100%.
Sure. Crush it.
One thing that we do actively in our marketing, we try to block Punta Cana keywords as much as possible. And we still get a lot of people inquiring.
Still a
lot. Because it's over 50% of people coming to Punta Cana. And it still blows my mind that some people think that Punta Cana is the capital of the Dominican Republic.
Oh, yes.
So Puerto Plata gets 16% of all the demand that we get. Of course, there's an overlap because Puerto Plata is not just the city, but also the province where Sosúa and Cabarete are. We still get a lot of requests directly in Sosúa, specifically when we look at communities like Sosúa Ocean Village. And I will share one of a really interesting opportunity that we have right now in this community. And of course, Cabarete Encuentro, due to the water sports, it's something that's really, really sought after. One thing is And Robert will have for sure a room for some questions and answers afterwards. But recently we've done a really phenomenal webinar with one of our senior agents, Michelle Bordeaux, with a guest lawyer from Guzman Ariza. And those of you who have been watching real estate in the Dominican Republic for a while would know that it's the biggest law firm on the island with almost 100 years of history.
Next year will be their 100th year in business here in the Dominican Republic, which is impressive.
Yes. So they spent, I think, 87 minutes for this live webinar. We had 509 registration from 9 different countries, which was amazing. But the beautiful thing is, and I highly recommend, and we can share the presentation where you have a link to the webinar. Spent 55 minutes, which tells me one thing, and that is that it was a lot of great information.
Yeah.
I also wanted to cover some of the main, let's say, FAQs that there were. So can foreigners own property in the Dominican Republic? Absolutely, with the same rights as a resident. The title verification is something that the webinar goes over. The full buying process from reservation to promise of sale to getting your own title in the hands, what the closings are like and what they are. Also, what Confotur is, the tax exemptions that you can get as a first-time investor for up to 15 years. Also talking about the different financing options, and not only bank, because that exists. It's not impossible, but it's complicated in the Dominican Republic. That's why seller and developer financing comes in hand, and you want to make sure that you're protected in such transaction. Also, what you should be looking at if you're considering to buying something pre-construction, and what a power of attorney does for you as a remote buyer, because I've had personally a lot of people that have never been to the Dominican Republic, bought a property, are happy, are watching the progress of it being built, or are earning income. Everything is great. All it was a power of attorney from the consulate, and everybody is happy.
And I'll put this video into the Inner Circle. On the YouTube link, it's all timestamped with the certain times in the webinar with those specific questions.
Yeah, so it's all here and ready. Lost my presentation.
Oh, yeah.
So
we don't need to, because you're strapped for time.
One thing that we'll also share is a look back on 2025, because it shows what we have done, what stands behind the company. Because when you watch the 4.5-minute video, it always makes me really happy and proud of what we are part of.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that we have discussed briefly is the Sosúa Village.
Yep.
You have lived there.
Yes.
I have lived there.
I've invested there. I have people who pay me a mortgage there.
Yeah.
It's we've done very well in that community, and the clients are very happy.
And right now we have a very interesting opportunity. I just want to make sure that you can see it. Is my screen shared?
Yes. Okay. Good.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll just make sure that, okay, now it is. Perfect. So going back to the opportunity in Sosúa Village, you can see these 3 condo buildings, each with 19 units, and we still have some available. And we just want to go over some of the key points, because there is a few things that are very unique. Right now, it's between Sosúa and Cabarete, just 17 minutes to the airport with the private beach access in Sosúa Village. The starting price for the studios is $119,000. They only have 3 out of the 57 remaining. They're 47 square meters, so roughly 500 square feet. So much bigger than a hotel room. You can fit a king size bed and a sofa bed. So for rentability, it's really good. But the key thing is that they offer 0 interest financing with half down for 5 years. So when we compare it to what banks offer in terms of financing here in the Dominican Republic, where the rates come between 9 to 11%, comparing it to 0%.
Yeah.
Seller financing, where it not only you don't have to verify any credit scores, but it also doesn't impact your credit report in Canada, in the States, or anywhere. That's pretty
I just want to make a point. When we bought our first property in the Dominican Republic, it was a small 2-bedroom villa in Sosúa Village. And it wasn't because we couldn't afford something bigger. It's because I wanted to start with something small and make sure that my tolerance and my comfort level and confidence in the market was able to handle more investments in the future. So a lot of times people have a checklist of things they're looking to do to make everything perfect. But sometimes starting small and trading up over time is also a very good real estate strategy in order to get to the end point where you want. And fast forward, 2024, we bought what we would consider now our forever home in Seahorse Ranch, right? So it's been a gradual process of trading up over time and making sure that, all my eggs weren't in one basket until they kind of were.
Yeah. So one thing also Robert has filmed is a beautiful 32-minute walkthrough video of Sosúa Village, because it's one thing that people always, and it blows my mind. Sometimes people live there and they don't even know that there is a beach club with a gym, that there is not only one restaurant right on the ocean, but another one. I think it's the biggest or second biggest saltwater infinity pool in the Caribbean, and it's all accessible within the community. So it's not just about buying a condo. It's about buying into the most popular gated community on the north coast of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and lifestyle.
One thing before we jump into the questions, what we would highly suggest, because every single week as a team, and now 32 agents, we vote on what we call a deal of the week. It goes out by email every Tuesday, and sometimes it's a condo, luxurious one. Sometimes it's a fixer-upper villa. Other times it could be a commercial property, but it's something where we feel comfortable and confident that we know it's a fantastic deal. Our sell rate for these properties is over 72%. And that means that once the email goes out, we get an offer within a week. So that is really important if you're interested and serious about investing in the Dominican Republic, to make sure that you're getting these deals. And I think now would be a great time to open it up for discussion.
If you're interested in what the deal of the week being sent to, just drop your email address in the comments over here. I'll ask Mark to kind of get those for me after and send them, and I'll make sure that you're added to the database, that you get them. And when you have 32 of the top professional agents in our hyper local market voting and choosing the hottest deal, that's something that as professionals here, we know what it is. And as buyers, we also understand that buyers that are coming in our market, they don't want a good deal. They don't want an okay deal. They want the best deal. And when 32 people put up their hand and say, this is the best deal out of 400 listings that we have, there's a lot of power that goes behind that story. So if you guys would like to have that property be sent to you weekly, I'll make sure that you guys have it. So Mark, if you can help maybe open up the chat, or maybe filter through some of the questions if anyone's put them there, or if somebody wants to unmute themselves and ask away, this is the time. This is usually where most of the magic happens. And if you have to go for your closing,
absolutely run.
Don't worry, I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you soon.
Mark, did we have any questions?
I have one.
Okay, fantastic.
If we compare, let's say, a villa with 3.5 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, a pool with 19 square meters, and a land plot of 385 square meters, what is the price comparison to Punta Cana?
Oh my goodness, there's too many
Average.
there's too many different communities here to say, too many different locations. The amenity, it would be nearly impossible to say just based on those parameters what would be the average and how it would compare to Punta Cana, right? What I can suggest is that our website has a search feature there. You can search by bedrooms, by washrooms, by price points, by communities, and then you can start to filter into that. Typically, our average sale is around $270,000, and most of our sales for villas would be in the 3-bedroom category. I don't know if that gives any insight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Hold on. Surf town. Oh yes, I was Punta. Yeah, we were just in Peru. It was wonderful. We were surfing in Punta Rocas. The water is cold, but it was amazing to see the kids compete. Yes, our daughter lives in West Ascent lately and we're checking out places. Yes, please come and visit. Listen, anytime someone, if they're looking at real estate, this is the best advice I give them. Slow is fast. All right. If you have the opportunity to come here and spend more than 1 week so that you can sleep in and see what daily life is, where you're just not stressed and trying to do everything in the shortest period of time, it'll give you a better idea and the sense of community and lifestyle if it's for relocation. That's really, really important. Take your time, right? Okay, could you share the link? Yes, Terry, for Laguna City. Yes, absolutely. I will get that to Mark right after because I'm afraid if I touch Thomas's Mac, I use a PC, that I may end this webinar. How long is it a drive to Sosúa from Punta Cana? Well, when I drive from here, first of all, the drive's really nice. There are a lot of private highways. Like it probably costs you about $20 combining all the different tolls, but the quality of roads is great. Also, I use Waze when driving because it shows me the ride stops, like when they're checking your speed, most of them. And without stopping, you could probably do it in like 4.5 hours. I stop, use the washroom, eat, take my time. I don't stress out. I know that it's if I leave at like 7 in the morning, I'll be there by like, 1, 2 in the afternoon, and I'm okay with that. So it's a really, really easy drive. And that's something that I try and go out at least every 6 weeks to Punta Cana for golf because I love golf. The golf is incredible there. Do some communities have um, very few have restrictions on short-term rentals, but that's obviously something that we'd have to check the bylaws of them. But most of them are open to short-term rentals just because we're in a very touristic area here, specifically in Sosúa and Cabarete. Are some communities less rentals and more? Yeah, I think some of the best communities have the right balance between home ownership where people live there full time because obviously they really care between some people who are using it as a vacation home. So maybe they're spending like a couple months a year here, but renting it out when they're not. And other people that have investment. Finding a community that has a right blend is always something that I find desirable, but to each his own. Please put you on the list. Absolutely, of course. We'll do that. I will get you that information over there. Any other questions? Someone wants to unmute or throw it here in the chat. Did I miss any questions, Mark? I don't know if I'm scrolling up and down or if I missed some from the beginning. Let's see. Okay, I'm working this Mac over here. Do you know my buddy Mariel? He's been kite surfing instructor for 10 years. Keith, probably. I know like Calvin, who does kite surfing, Aduri, who's like a world champion. Luis, who's been a 3-time world champion. He's also a golfer, so I kite surf. I golf with him. I'm a surfer. It's just way less equipment. I tried kite surfing. It's still on my bucket list. So I'm looking forward to accomplishing that goal. Are there any data centers? Not that I'm aware of. Oakland, California in the house. Fantastic. Hi, Robert. Do you have any pre-constructions? Yes. On our website, probably the easiest way to just start the learning process. We have a tab that's on our homepage that's under pre-construction. And then you can also search pre-construction by like specific area, like Cabarete, for example. Right now, we work very closely with the developers from Travieso. The people that design Travieso are from Luxia Labs. They're one of the top architectural firms in the entire Dominican Republic. And the builder is Impulse Capital, and they build all over the country. In the last 4 years, they've delivered over, I think, 2,400 doors. So they're a fantastic quality development, and that's right in the Kite Beach area, if you're familiar with it. So it's right in the heart of everything. All right, I'm coming to Punta Cana in April to meet with a developer on a condo I bought there. If we come to view the available condos, do we call you? Are you one of the team? We're specialized here in the North Coast, like Sosúa Cabarete. We do a whole bunch of sales in Punta Cana. But if you guys are interested in having professional guidance here on the North Coast, Jamie has a referral guide. If you guys could fill that out, we work hand in hand with him. We are his trusted advisor here on the North Coast. When you fill out that form, he sends us over the information immediately, and someone on my team will contact you as quickly as possibly personally to learn more about what's most important to you before making recommendations. And just from a professional standpoint, if somebody just starts making a whole bunch of recommendations right from the beginning without truly asking you questions and learning more about what's most important to you and why that's most important to you, slow it down, because it's really important that when you're working with a professional that they have a deep understanding of what's important to you. And then from there, obviously the recommendations, you're going to be a lot more efficient with your selection process. Great, thank you. You're welcome, Renee. Pleasure. I meant coming to see the condo you have in Laguna. Oh yeah, just fill out the form, Terry, that Jamie has, and then absolutely we'll set it all up for you. Out of the 57 units, 3 are left and available. I think RealtorDR, we sold we sold like 48 of them. We're a very good partner with Sosúa Ocean Village and the developer. Yes, excellent. That'd be great. Anyone else have any questions? All right, Mark. Oh, here we are. What's your website again? Let me write that down in here. There we are. Also, Jamie is the best. There's a lot of other great people that are online that deliver excellent insights. Jay Gives Back is he's someone that we talk to, and I admire his work that he does. He's fantastic. But if you guys want to follow me, it's Robert Max CO, I think at realtordr.com, or realtordot.com for our Instagram. And I think we do a fantastic job with our content and our production as well. So if you could give us a follow, that would be incredible as well. Anyone else? All right. Mark, I'll send you over the information with Laguna City, with the information for the email address. And also, I believe there's a recording. So hopefully that can go up into the vault so that anybody else who's looking here on the North Coast, they can watch that. I understand they're going up to yes, Hispaniola is a wonderful, if you're talking about Hispaniola residences, it is absolutely beautiful there. And people don't realize how beautiful Sosúa is until they start to explore it a little bit more. So I absolutely adore Hispaniola residences. And they also have Hispaniola on the beach, which is gorgeous as well, too. Those are 2 fantastic real estate opportunities, either for relocating or a vacation home. Anyone else? All right, guys, I'm sorry, I think we went a little bit longer in the presentation stage, but hopefully we're able to deliver some insights and value. Again, I'm in the inner circle. If you ever tag me and you have a question, doesn't even need to be about real estate. It could be about a doctor, about a car rental, a place to go and eat. That's what we're there for in the inner circle, is to help each other, make everything easier. I always tell our friends and family or clients that come down and purchase, like, 10 years of experience that we have here in this local market is going to make everything easier for everyone else. And that's my goal, is to make everything easier for everyone else. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting you in person. And I will get you guys all of the information as promised. I'll connect with you after, Mark, so that you have that. Guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Remo. Appreciate it.